Hello, everyone. This is Elliott Serrano and Jose Melendez coming to you from Dreamland Comics in Schaumburg, Illinois. Taping on this Easter Sunday, Easter afternoon. Happy Easter and Passover. And forgive me if I'm forgetting any other religious holidays. But once again, our last set of segments started a whole lot of conversation about different topics that we brought up, and especially our postings about our heroes and villains. But we'll get into that, into some of your thingies, probably later on, maybe in the next round of segments, because we have a lot of backlog, stuff that's been requested that we talk about, and we actually wanted to get into some specific books that our viewers have been asking us to get into. Before we do that, though, the top 10 comics for March, for last month, were released. The numbers were released this past week, last week. And Jose called it Battle for the Cowl, number 1, the book that we so thoroughly enjoyed. Was number 3, and it was the top-selling DC comic for the month of March. Not only top-selling DC comic, but also their only top-selling $3.99 comic, because I'm looking at the other books that they have in the top 10. The only other book in the top 10 that they have here is Justice League, and that was a $2.99 book.
Oh, but that was Justice League 31, and that book was awful.
It was bad.
It was really bad. The only 2 good books on this top 10, to me, Buffy was number 10. How Buffy stays number 10, I don't know, but it's awesome.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it's great that this book is in the top 10.
Right, and then Ultimate Wolverine Hulk number 3 was number 9, which was all right.
But although I will say this, I was kind of surprised that it was only number 9, considering how much weight that was for. You thought it would have been in the top 5.
Yeah.
But for it only to be in the top...
But when it comes out 2 years late...
But again, there's that build-up that people have got to know what happens next. Although, again, there is, as you said, when you have to wait that long, nothing's going to live up to the.
And with attention spans nowadays,
right?
I'm sorry, but it's like out of sight, out of mind for a lot of people. But the top 5 books are all books that I thoroughly hate and that we've ripped on, and those are the top 5 books. And the Batman thing, I totally call a Battle for the Cowl for me in the top 3. But
Dark Avengers number 3 was the number 1 selling book. New Avengers number 51 was number 2. New Avengers, where it was essentially 20 pages of people sitting around, talking, watching television, eating.
I can't believe that's what...
Yeah.
That's the number 2 book. I can't believe that's what people want nowadays in comics. In an Avengers comic. Just a bunch of sitting around talking, not doing jack shit.
And that really made me think. It made me think about what content there is. And, I mean, first... Obviously, the book's got a lot of momentum going left over from Secret Invasion, what Bendis has been building over time. I have to say, it's really, really admirable that Bendis and editorial at Marvel have taken what was really one of the lesser popular titles of Marvel. I mean,
The Avengers?
The Avengers. The Avengers were not the top title that they are now.
Right.
Before it used to be X-Men. Right. X-Men outsold all the time. And Avengers, for it being Earth's mightiest heroes and one of Marvel's first, flagship titles, it didn't go anywhere. It did not sell, even when you had some top-notch talent on the book.
I like the Jeff Johns stuff that was on Avengers before.
But did it sell is the thing.
It sold all right. I mean, don't get me wrong. The numbers now are up. Right. Easily to where they were before they rechristened it in New Avengers.
Right. But was it as easy as just put Spider-Man and Wolverine on the team is my thing? Or, there was a confluence of talent and circumstances, everything that come together to make it a top-selling book, to make it huge, and now it just keeps being a big book.
And it goes, like we've talked about before, I think it's just out of habit. People just buying it out of habit. I mean, I know people love it. And the reviews that I've been watching on YouTube, like the last week, my head just wants to fucking explode every time I see somebody talking about how awesome New Avengers is, how awesome Battle for the Cowl is, how awful Destroyer is.
Who said Destroyer was awful?
I'm not going to get into they said, this is the review that they gave on Destroyer. They said it was violence for violence sake, and because it was a Max book, and that there was nothing to it but excessive violence. And they didn't even get into the story. They didn't get into anything. They just it were turned off by the alt. But it's a Max book, so obviously there's going to be violence. Right. But it's not violence for violence sake. That's what you thought it was for the first 6 pages.
Yes. No, that's what I thought it was for the first 6 pages.
There's,
yes.
Right. I don't know. Right. That's why I cannot stand any of the other reviews out there. I mean, that's why I'm not going to name names, but they are so boring, and everyone likes everything, and it's either they hate it, but they don't really tell you why they hate it, whereas we'll spend 10 minutes telling you exactly why we hate something, or we'll spend 10 minutes telling you why we like something. Right. Whereas everyone just either hates it or likes it, and they don't really get into anything, because they like to review as many things as possible, and it's quantity over quality. And, if you're going to do that, who fucking cares? Because all the other reviews are exactly the same out there. Except Fanboy D, you do a good job, keep it real. And there's a couple other guys doing it out there that actually like, and they're doing something different. But for the most part, 90% of the reviews that I read online or watch on YouTube are all the same. And there's like nothing new to it. And that's why these books continue to do how they do. Because no one ever comes out and says how shitty they are and how awful they are. And no one calls out the industry saying, why are you making these books the top 5 books?